everyone, this is Danielle from empoweredreadings.com. Today's question is, what messages does heaven have for you? I wasn't planning on doing this card reading, to be honest. I had a totally different theme question in mind, and I kept looking at these cards and I just knew that I had to do this card reading. So I'm expecting some strong messages to come through, or just some very well needed messages that need to be heard. Either way, if you've done a pick a card before, you can go ahead and do the pile selection. And if you haven't, I'll give you a little explanation right now on how to do that. Alright, so first step is that you're going to get yourself grounded. How we do that, or the fastest way to do that, is you're going to breathe in deeply 4 times. I like to picture breathing in light above my head, and then I breathe it in from above my head down into my core, and then out through my mouth. We do it 4 times just to make sure our breathing is steady and we're in our bodies and we're ready to hear our intuition and the messages that are here for us. After that, you're just going to pick whichever pile appeals to you the most. It could be something about the picture you like, there's a color on it you like. It could even be that when you look in the timestamps for each pile, there's a number that you're really drawn to. Honestly, you can't really go wrong here. If you're not drawn to any, then there just might not be a message in this pile for you, and go ahead and look at another pick a card reading. I'm sure there's a message for you somewhere. It's just unfortunately not in this one. All right, I'm gonna give you time now to do your 4 deep breaths and then select your pile. Hello, pile 1. I'm actually going to pull from all the decks, but the main one I'm going to take most of the cards from is this one here. And I'm just going to shuffle them now. Gratitude. You attract more blessings when you appreciate your current situation. The earth is our school. My mind is free. It will always point you in the right direction. My death was painless. Please don't worry or hold on to guilt. Tears cleanse the soul. Powerful, loving, and wise spiritual teachers are watching over and guiding you. You are very clairvoyant. Celebration. Intention. Abundance. Agent or manager. Your work expands and reaches as you partner with a professional who can help you. You're a highly sensitive and natural born leader. Then I have these 3 here. What message does heaven have for you, pile 1? My condolences to you, pile 1. This is specifically a passed over loved one who is coming through here for your reading. They have a lot that they want to say to you. They don't want you to worry about them, as hard as that is to not do. And they're really coming towards you with this energy of answering some of your questions. Like, I feel like some of you worry a lot around like what's happened to them, or what they're really, are they really in heaven? Like, this could be a very specific message, but there is this direct question around clouds. And I'm not sure I understand what this inside joke is here, but there, to someone, there's something important about looking in the clouds for something, or seeing something in the clouds. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know what it is though. Just definitely something about the physical clouds mattering. Okay, what else here? All right, so some of the messages here is that your loved ones would like you to seek out some form of therapy or emotional support group to help with this healing, and that will actually help you go through this process faster. And by faster, they just mean you won't be affected by it for the rest of your life, or thinking about it forever and ever. It's going to really bring you some clarity and understanding on why this person has passed away. And for each one of you watching this, it is going to be a different reason. Some of the messages this pile has from their passed over loved one is they're just telling you, like, while they were alive, they had all this anxiety and all this worry about outcomes and what was going to happen, and meeting their physical needs, and the people they know meeting their physical needs, and financial struggles, and I want to say almost obsession, like penny pitching, that kind of energy, like always being hyper fixated on all the what ifs, and definitely a lot around physical well-being and being able to take care of themselves. And they're just saying that now they can see that there was no need for that, that them thinking that way is one of the lessons that everyone is here for, is understanding that if you can raise yourself to a higher awareness, a higher perspective, then you can see that you can bring in everything that you want. Also mentioning the importance of understanding that some people who seem, the words I want to use is almost less educated, are just people who are struggling to meet their physical needs, and they don't have the ability to take the time at this point in their lives to see past that. They don't have the ability to be all that they can be and see the higher situation. They're still in the life lessons for them where they're learning how to just even sustain their physical needs. And that this Passover one is, it's like something, maybe they might have been really judgmental of some people, or they themselves could have been people you didn't really understand why they never did better or asked for better. They might have been people who you felt never asked for better or tried harder, or you just felt almost frustrated with them. They are trying to give you this view of things. They're saying if you are able to have this level of compassion towards people you're on earth with now, it will change everything. It will change will shift everything everything in your life, because that viewpoint towards those people creates a negative effect on your own life. So this loved one, yeah, they're very focused on what we would call manifestation and your manifestation ability. And I believe it's because they struggled with this a lot in their life, and they don't want to see you struggle with it in yours. And they're just, they're basically begging you to listen to your intuition and let go of the what if thoughts. Just trust that everything you feel or your intuition is telling you could be true is, and it's gonna open a new door for you, pile one. Okay, sorry, that's just, I had to say that. And then the other message going on here is they just really want to reassure you that they are okay. Their death, they even say, my death was painless. Please don't worry or hold on to guilt. Really just release that energy that you're holding in there. Any grossness. I feel like you all have very tight chests when you think about this, or you might even right now. And then you're saying, like, ask the angels to please take that feeling, that guilt, that fear, that sadness, or the pain, and take it from you, because it's not serving you anymore. If you ask them to help you release it, they will. And that you can't, unfortunately, just wish away all your pain. You do have to cry sometimes. It literally is how your body is going to itself transform that energy from yourself and then bring you really great clarity from it. It will let you see things you couldn't quite see so clearly, and it might even, instead of being so sad and painful when you think of a memory, it will bring you a smile or a little more happiness. And it's not that you don't feel happy about those memories, it's just too full of that grief right now. So this loved one is saying that they are definitely staying around. They have moved into a position where they are going to be guiding you. If you allow it, it is your choice to take their guidance or not. And they're always going to be there to help you kind of make decisions that are going to be in your highest good, especially since this passed over loved one is just so eager to see you, I want to say, abundant and financially successful. They really, really care about that for you. They want you to follow what you know, what you feel is true, not all these worries and anxieties and all these thoughts and inspirations that come from the fear, but to follow all these inspirations that come from aspiring to help others and having compassion for others. So yeah, a lot of the manifestation stuff, they really want you to get into release ceremonies, like releasing this pain, this fears around everything else, around not being able to succeed, around not finding anyone to support you like this person did. Whatever it is, they're saying they want you to see you release this, change your mindsets, have a gratitude journal, or listen to affirmations of gratitude. They want you to appreciate what you have, to shift the focus away from what you don't have, because it will just keep creating this tumble and this cycle of being like, well, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this, even once you get the thing that you've wanted. Yeah, they really do think abundance is there for you. They really want you to do clearing ceremonies. And I would suggest full moon. I think they like that too, because they think that you've got a lot of fear, and I think their loss as well. I think they really want to see you releasing that energy monthly minimum, just so that every time you think, okay, well, I've done enough work, they're gonna say, no, 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 like, look, there's still gonna be another layer there to clear in a month. Please release it. They do not want to be anything other than an inspiration to you. They don't want you to be held back by their death. They don't want you to be lost and to stop having passion for your life. They really want you to keep going, because they are here, they're guiding you, they're supporting you the best they can from the other side. But unfortunately, they can't do this releasement work for you, or this mind shift work. So all they can do is give you a whole bunch of tools and suggestions on how they think you'd do good doing that. Some of you, I think you've seen them around, this passed over loved one. Whether it's, I feel like some of you might even think that they've actually moved things or sat down in chairs near you. It's kind of things where sometimes it could maybe be a little bit scary if you didn't know it was this person you loved. But I think they're almost doing things like that they used to do or used to be, to try to get you to realize that they're okay, they're still around, and they're trying to guide you. And to trust when you think they're giving you a message, because they are. It is them. They're saying that it is them. You are very clairvoyant. You are seeing what you think you're seeing, even if other people think you're going crazy. They're saying you're just picking up on what they're doing and that they're there. And you are pretty sensitive. A lot of you might even be empathic, or just very highly intuitive. And I think this is something to do with what they want you to do with your life, like with having compassion. They know you have the ability to have it for people, because you do feel so much and you are such a good person. All right, so there is another little message here. Sorry, I'll just another reassurance. It does feel like they really want you to know this is them. Oh, it's kind of like they're saying, like, you can say it 100 times, but I'm not sure if they're really believing you. That it's them, and they're trying to give you a message that says, I bring you a message from your deceased loved one. I am happy, at peace, and I love you very much. Please don't worry about me. Yeah, and I just see that they're really going to help you do clearing work, or that's what they want to help you with. Once again, you have free will. If this loved one wasn't maybe always the healthiest person, you are allowed to set boundaries with them. I don't think that's going to be for everyone here. I think some of you, this was like a female figure in your life, and they might have had really unhealthy tendencies, like just with that stress energy, and maybe even putting some of that on you, that, life doesn't just give you everything that you want. You can't get anything without working really hard. You gotta hustle, like that kind of energy, and then mixed with extreme anxiety or anxiousness. That's not everyone. I feel like that's like a very strong energy. So it could even just be one passed over loved one who has a very dominant personality compared to the others, who's just saying she's here. And then I do get the impression that there is a husband who passed and left behind a wife and a child. And this one's a much more caring, nurturing energy. And I feel like the stress around money and providing was a bit because they wanted to provide everything for this young family. And they're definitely here as a very kind, loving energy to say they're protecting you and they want to guide you and they're going to try to be in your life as much as they can as a guide. I should also say nothing here is saying that they don't want any of you to hold on to them to the point that you would never move on. There's no energy like that here. Nothing feels controlling, except for maybe that one mom energy. I would have to maybe set boundaries. She has like a lot of guidance she wants to give because of her regrets in her life, and she means well, but don't forget that they are still just the higher selves of the same person. And just because they passed away doesn't mean that they might like or dislike anyone differently than when they were here sometimes. Yeah, I don't feel worried about the rest of you, but I just feel like for that one person who's like, oh, this is my mom or my grandma or my aunt or however this female's related to you. Yes, she does have things she wants you to know, but I would set boundaries with that one. Yeah, okay, so they're also just saying, you might be confused and indecisive a lot right now. Do research, seek out advice. Don't make any quick decisions right now because I feel like you guys are in a little bit more of a, I don't want to say fragile state, but it's a state where if sometimes you're in a lot of pain, you can be very trusting of the people around you, and that's great. Some people are really worth trusting, but other times you can kind of draw in that energy where people know how to talk you into things that might not serve your highest good, but it serves theirs. So it's not saying don't trust anyone. It's just saying that some of you need to recognize that although there are great people out there, sometimes there is that other energy that sneaks in sometimes. So just know that those two things are out there and don't make any decisions quickly. And if you feel pressured to make them, know that there's no true pressure. It's just all what someone's saying. Ugh, that doesn't quite sound right. Sometimes when someone really wants you to do something and it feels extra pressured, then usually that's the person who is pushing the thing that isn't really good for you, but it is in their highest good. So maybe just watch out for that energy there for some of you. If, I would look into intentional living or the power of intentionally doing things. It does have a lot to do with manifestation work, and these two cards here are really just asking you to look into that. Another great thing about manifestation work is that it also gives us the time to go within ourselves and find out what we really want, see how we're really feeling, release any of those emotions that we're kind of hiding in our deeper subconsciousness, or we just didn't even realize we're doing such a good job at avoiding feeling. And that will help bring in that good energy into your life, that energy and that mind shift of you're deserving and worthy of receiving everything the universe has to offer you. And that can be all in good energy. It doesn't have to be the bad. Like, I feel like some of you or the person who died always said, like, shit always happens to me. or something like that. Like it's just like, oh, of course this is happening to me. Nothing good ever happens to me. It's yeah, it's like it's just like a very negative mindset, and they really don't want to see that in you because that is just a huge like foolishness they've realized that they did and taught others that they were around. And then for the other ones where I think it's like the husband energy, it's just even realizing that the focus that he put on providing and not maybe being enough, and the stress of always being worried that it wasn't going to be enough, or in the future wouldn't be enough. It's just realizing that it wasn't necessary, and that because you were living the same place so close, you were picking up on that, and he wants to clear it before you start bringing that energy into it yourself. I'm picking up that some of you really like the rain. Like something about being outside when it's raining feels very cleansing and clearing to you. I'm not sure why it's important, but I'm just getting that if that is what feels right to you and you are not going to get sick or cold or anything like that, it's just to do that. Like it's like you're consciously clearing your energy on a very deep level, and that could be why you enjoy it so much. And there is like this very interesting energy to rain and storms. Like something around that really draws you in. Like understand, it's almost like you feel like your insides are just so messy, just a mess. And I almost feel like the storm seems very symbolic of what you feel like on your insides with lightning and thunder and it being dark and then little bits of light coming in and then feeling like they're gone. And I almost feel like the rain makes you feel like you're being cleansed of that energy. Yeah. Could just be for one person again. I'm not too sure. That was a little bit of a random message. But yeah, if you feel called to that, or I would also just recommend maybe if it's just rained, like putting your hand in a rain puddle and just, I don't know, I just feel like touching that would feel very nice to you guys. Very clearing, or being near water in general, I think makes you feel very grounded and safe and a little more at peace. So you don't even need to be in it necessarily, but if you're near big bodies of water, I think all that would be really great for you. And having compassion for yourself, being gentler on yourself. So I'm trying to think, is there any other messages? Working on your self-love a little here. Having fun. I do see a lot of calls to just being silly and dancing around. Even if it's just by yourself, it's just getting some of that stuck energy out. Wiggling, moving your body however you can to make yourself feel better is really making you feel better, lighter. It's going to make you feel a lot lighter. If you listen to music and you feel like lyrics are sticking out to you, that could also be a subtle way that they're trying to slip you some messages. Honey, it is a little more of an angel vibe, but I think they're kind of working it. I think they're kind of asking the angels to help them out with getting that message to you. Smart people here. Cluing in a bit here. I've been feeling very weird throughout this whole reading. And I've asked myself why, but then I realized I think I'm just channeling your energy. I think a lot of you feel empty right now. Depression. I think for some of you it's depression, but for other ones of you, it's just empty. I would say it feels as if your soul split when this person died. And you are having a really hard time connecting to things, feeling grounded, feeling connected to a higher power, to your intuition. For that person who had that mother energy who passed away, a bit abusive or intrusive, or you at least felt oppressed by them. And when that happens, it's almost like she took a little bit of your soul while she was here. And that just can happen from any sort of abusive parent or partner. And for you who are like, what does that mean? So for example, like a aspect of our soul or of our personality can become oppressed if a parent forces us or a partner forces us into a career we don't want. So it doesn't mean it's something you can't get back, but it's almost like this little hinting that if you're feeling not totally like yourself and it's been like this for a long time, I think it is because of this loved one. They did it without realizing it. We never do it intentionally. But if that is true, then you can definitely get it back when you're ready. Like when you've healed this wound a little bit, then you can call in this piece of you, because if you haven't done any healing at all, that part of you is not going to want to stay. It's going to be a little creeped out in there. It's not going to recognize you. It's just, it doesn't want to come back to something unhealthy. And I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm saying this all in the harshest way, but it's, how do I say this nicer? It's like we all have soul loss, and it can be larger fragments than others. It can be aspects of ourselves. It could really be anything. And this is just actually really nice that a part of it's showing itself to come back once you've done a little bit of healing work. Because there's some people that go their whole lives without realizing that they've lost anything, or that a part of them has not been with them since they were, say, like 2 years old or 6-year-old or 20. Even some people can lose it at, say, 50, and they're, I don't know, 55 or 80 now. It can happen at any time. There's no one who isn't gonna experience it. It's not in our human life or lesson to not experience that. And I just really want to say there's no need to be fearful for this group, because it's not something that's quite ready to come back in yet, but it's on the horizon if you do the healing work around this. And then for those who are depressed, it's like calling you to recognize that when we're depressed, it's because our souls, like either the whole soul or parts of our soul, are trying to hide. Like it's trying to stay safe because it feels unworthy. And this can be a cause of emotional depression. That resonates with any of you. Obviously, there is always hurt and pain, and there can be depression from someone we love passing away, but I think there's more going on here. Some of these loved ones were really kind, great people, and some of them, unfortunately, were not. And there is a lot of healing work to do around that relationship while they were alive. And everything I see here is that they recognize that they were not healthy, and they're almost stepping in as a guide to make up for that, and having done that to you in your life. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so this message is also just for a few of you, but it's saying you might have stifled your nature or your natural healing powers, psychic abilities in order to fit into your family. And that saying like if you repress your psychic gifts and all these like this your healing energy I think is quite strong. If you repress it so much to the point where you don't even acknowledge it exists, it might be it doesn't mean it is, but it can lead to disease or depression or anxiety. It will have some sort of emotional or physical side effect. So some of you have like a lot of sensitivities with food. I even want to say if some of you have chronic back pain, I want to say it is. Um, and it's just because of it's been a long time that it's been suppressed and it just needs to go somewhere, that energy, because it's not getting out ever. It's just literally being pulled down, like stuffed down. And energy is energy, it has to go somewhere. And it says some of your depression could be actually caused by not being able to show your true nature and that you've become fearful or anxious because you're missing like a necessary quality of yourself. And this could have just cascaded over time in your subconscious or in your consciousness. And it could explain a little bit more why some of you might be feeling numb or depressed. It is interesting. There is a lot of messages I feel coming through now from your angels and guides, not from your past over loved ones. And a lot of them are saying that you need to learn how to set boundaries and understand like the side effects and the problems that come up when you don't set boundaries. And it could be with yourself or others, but it's definitely important here because I don't know really what it is, but I know not all these messages are from people who are unhealthy, but the very dominant energy or very strong energy is that this passed over loved one was actually quite toxic, quite abusive, um, not good. Yeah, it's not for everyone, but it's just unfortunately when someone has that much energy, it does overshadow the really kind, gentle ones because it's so strong and aggressive. And it could also be because the angels just really want me to make sure I'm communicating that whoever was dealing with this one knows that it was not good, it was not healthy. You were right. If you're feeling confused and all that, I think you might need to go and look into unhealthy relationships and see maybe how there were subtle ways that they were really mistreating you that you didn't even realize. Yeah, I think I'm getting to the end of the messages, but just the last one. If you feel like you always need like your mid back cracked, could be because you've dealt with a lot of judgment, and this could be either someone around you having a lot of judgment, maybe this person, or it could even be that you yourself have unfortunately gained this habit of judging people even without fully realizing it. And it's just how it's kind of manifesting in your body to give you awareness is that if you're noticing that there's something around judgment that you need to look into um, to kind of get rid of that or help with some of the tension in there and release it. Yeah. I am just going to let you know I am planning on channeling in Reiki energy to all the piles today. So if you are wanting or willing to accept that, you just have to think yes, or say yes, or type yes in the comments, any of those things. If you don't, just, don't worry about it. It's so funny, I'm like, don't bother. It's kind of, they're very sorry. There's very weird energies here. Sometimes they get a little caught up in the things I say, and I don't realize how much they can affect my own personal language and moods. So I'm going to go clear after this. But yeah, just so you know that that is an option for you there. Yeah. Okay. I hope you guys are feeling better after this. And don't forget, there's always resources out there. Like if there's anything that I said that didn't really make sense to you, obviously use discretion when Googling, because some of that stuff is just a whole hunk of bull. But there is some really good information out there if you follow your intuition to see what resonates with you and what feels true to you. Okay. I'll see you guys around. I hope you have a good one. Hello, pile 2. All right. So we're going to get started here. We're actually going to pull from all the decks you saw, but the main deck I'm going to pull from is this Angel Therapy deck. So I'm just going to shuffle here. So what messages does Heaven have for you, pile 2? What messages does Heaven have for you? Oh, wow. Sorry, cards are kind of falling everywhere. All right. Not. Third eye chakra, clairvoyant, cancel, clear, delete, mediumship, ascended masters, God box. I'm here helping you. I have a new understanding. Children, surrender and release, friendship, allow yourself to receive, open your arms to welcome blessings and answer prayers that God is sending you. Media, you can reach more people by working with video, online media. Birth, new life, such as a baby, an idea, happy news, or an exciting project blossoms within you and around you. And we have this one here, the Angel Abundance. This here, Merlina. And time out. You've been so busy taking care of everyone else's needs, but now it's time to stop and take care of yourself. Do research or seek expert advice before making a decision. It's funny, that just came out for the other pile. Okay, let's see what's going on here. All right, so if some of you are from pile 1 now watching pile 2, that wouldn't surprise me. Doesn't mean you have to, but there's some, I feel like there's some part 2 energies here where you were watching the one and now you're ready for the next message. Okay, it definitely makes sense why you might have chose a what does heaven want you to know card reading, because right there, mediumship, seeing lots of things, everything here is saying that you guys are very psychic, very gifted. You are, despite your best efforts, probably still experiencing specifically boundary issues with passed over people or loved ones, or just in general. And it's because they sense how strong and powerful you are of a medium. So even though you don't want to acknowledge it, unfortunately, you're like a beacon of light out there that they are all just seeing. And interesting enough, I don't feel like any of you are really that afraid of this. Like a lot of you are just so used to it now that you're like, well, no surprise here. I mean, weird stuff's happening all the time. If you've been noticing, pile two, that you've been really craving a lot of vegetables lately or green foods or wearing green clothes, I'd really encourage going that way. It's just something about that, the healing properties of the color green is what your body is asking for right now. It really helps with digestive, just healing tissues. With it's funny enough, I feel like it also helps with bringing in luck, and it helps with the heart. I feel like there's a pretty big imbalance in self-love and taking care of self here. As soon as I said that, it did say, I just kept looking at this card. It says, you will receive the money that you need, and God is in charge of how that will happen, and have faith. This is Millie. Isn't she beautiful? She knows it. Yeah, okay. Little intermission, and we'll get right back to it. I think that might have been a good little message about honoring yourself. Of all my cats, she's the most self-honoring. She knows her boundaries. She knows when she needs to say no. She knows what she needs, and she knows how to ask for love and give herself that love when she needs it. And ironically, she has such beautiful green eyes. Hey, Millie? Yeah. Not the same green as this one over here. All right. So, any other messages that I'm picking up right off the bat? Oh, sorry. Getting back to the mediumship thing. I was really drawn to this Ascended Master card. Ascended Masters are those who have lived on this earth, and I feel like you've been called to work with someone. If there's someone that you've been seeing a lot of, like a spiritual figure, I would look into researching them a little bit more. There's someone here who wants to guide you and work with you more in this this mediumship role. I actually do have an Ascended Masters deck. I'm just gonna pull a card out and see if anything pops out for you. I feel like you've been asking for some form of a teacher. Pile two. What is there? Ascended Master. Here we go. Whoa. Okay. Teacher. Look at that. Teacher. I'm so sorry. I don't know how on earth to say that. Mahakohan. Something along those lines. And the other one that I pulled is this card here, which is totally different vibes. It says Right and Toth. So let's get a little deeper on what those mean. So this teacher here, this guy, whose name I cannot pronounce, he's actually known for being the teacher of Saint Germain, the guy who always talks about the violet flame. And he's usually a teacher that comes into your life whenever you want to learn more on the spiritual level and you want to develop that aspect of yourself. So they say to call upon him for help with learning, spiritual teaching, or for if you're trying to do a job where you're trying to bring in more world peace. It's quite literally a spiritual teacher that works a lot with politicians who ask for his help. He tries to intuitively drop nuggets of information into them to help bring about more calmness. Sorry, I'm just noticing for you though, he is saying a little reminder to protect your own energy and have more psychic protection. So pile two, kind of feel like you guys haven't really totally known where to go with this or who to see for help with this mediumship gift, but I get the impression that you collect a lot of very low energies, and I don't think they're necessarily passed over people. I think they're just a little bit of everything. And I'm not sure if you realize that. I think you might have a little bit of this impression that dead people are scary and aggressive and they can be mistaken as demonic, but they're just people. I think you're attracting them both because you aren't shielding your energy, and because you're so powerful and your third eye is so open. It's almost too open. It's so open that you're seeing everything, and I think you like that. You're scared that if you stop seeing this much or set boundaries, I think you're scared that it will go away and you won't be able to see anymore, but that is not true. You are so psychically and clairvoyantly gifted. It will not go away. It will just be more in control versus just being insane. Yeah, the more I look at it, the more it's saying you have to shield yourself, you have to protect yourself from spiritual attack or attachments. I am gonna do a post on the Cageless Readings Instagram and or Facebook page on how to shield yourself. If you do not know, you can look there. You can also Google it. Anything is good at this point. It's better than nothing at all. Oh gosh, there goes the cat again. Yeah, it's really not saying that you're doing anything intentionally wrong. It's just, it's holding you back. It's actually lowering your vibration a little bit because you have all this stuff sticking and hanging around you. Like, I just instantly think, I think it's really important that you all get your houses cleared. If it's an option for you, I would actually get a professional to clear your house. I want to say a shamanic and or angelic practitioner, not a priest. I think they do work in certain conditions, but I think they're not going to quite understand this energy that you should be clearing from your house and specifically the backyard. And this could just be one person. I'm realizing this is getting very specific for a general reading, but if this resonates with you at all, maybe consider taking these steps. It's just really going to change a lot for you. You're going to not realize how heavy things feel because of all this stuff happening here. Yeah, but you're really hanging on to it. I don't know why you're very afraid to let go of these things. We'll get back to that. I'll ask more questions. This guy here is really telling me about clearing. Clearing, so important. You've got a lot of things that are not in your best interest hanging around. And if you ever feel attracted towards the evil eye, I would also look into that. It's less for those who have passed over and more for people in your life. I feel like you might also know, it could even be like family members who are also psychically gifted, but I feel like these people might not have the awareness. Or I actually feel like for some of you, it's friends or family members or even acquaintances who are a little bit jealous in some way. Like, you are so gifted. I think they have a bit of they're definitely a bit envious. And I think they can unintentionally send also bad energy towards you. And I know it sounds so bad, but it's just when we are like we've dived in more into the energetic world, we do get stronger at sending energy to people, whether we intend to or not. So this person is a bit upset with you. I don't know if it's for sure it's a she, could also very much be he, could be accidentally sending some of this energy towards you. So I would recommend getting some kind of evil eye symbol. I would recommend that it's something you can have on you. So if it's a bracelet, a ring, a pendant, earrings, if you have a shirt that has it, or anything like that, maybe a sticker on the back of your phone. I'm not sure. I just would suggest it for now until you learn how to keep being consistent with your shielding of your energy. And then on that note, this card has been screaming at me to make sure I acknowledge it before some of you might exit out of this video or something. Cancel, clear, delete. There's two meanings there that are both very important. The one for the group who's resonating with this, it's so important that you do cord cutting, because there is some like really gross cords stuck to you from these kind of people who are a bit envious, are a bit jealous. And then you have a very overgiving energy here where you don't set boundaries. And unfortunately, that can also cause cords with other people that become a little more one way. And what that looks like is if you often feel tired around someone, sometimes people feel like people who are depressed are really draining. It's more the theory that they have this energy cord to you that when you're around, they feel great because they kind of suck some of that energy. And they don't intentionally do it. It's definitely done on a very unconscious soul level. But because you've also, on an unconscious soul level, agreed and allowed it to happen, they're literally taking your energy and you're being left feeling empty. This is definitely a big issue for this pile 2 group. I see that for everyone, despite if some of these messages have resonated or not, you all need to work on cord cutting. It is important, even with the people you love, because we give to them the most, and sometimes we don't realize that we're agreeing to an unequal energy exchange dynamic. It doesn't mean you need to cut them out of your lives. You need to also add that in. It's literally just a spiritual energy cleanse that we do, like cleaning our houses so that it's rejuvenated and there's only good, loving energy there and boundaries. So please look into that. Even if it sounds a bit intimidating, it's so important. And this is actually the first card reading I've done where I've seen so many examples of cords really being surrounded around a person. Usually I just see a few. So it's really, really important. It's going to make you feel so much better. You're going to be so much more rejuvenated. Like some of you might think that you just have like adrenal fatigue is what I want to say. This can definitely be an association with it because there's just a lot of people who have just sort of decided to plug into you and use you as a battery. I'm sorry, that's really hard to hear. I can imagine it makes you feel a little bit upset. But it is there, and they are saying it, and they keep pushing it because they're like, if you don't realize what a big deal this is and how much this is affecting your health, it's a problem, because it really is. I think one of the messages is it's important that you love yourself enough to set boundaries in the physical world and in the energetical world, and to take back your power and just let go of this fear that you have around letting everyone do this to you. I almost feel like on some soul level, you think you can handle it, but it's like you're slowly cracking, and if it keeps up, it's not going to be good. This could also result in a bit of what people would call mental breakdown for you specifically, and I think it would come from it being from so many people being attached to you in the physical realm, and then so many passed over lower vibrational energies being stuck to you on the like spiritual realms consistently. It's not good. I also feel like maybe you've been prone to, I want to say, some form of mental illness or like random mental illness episodes. I would honestly think this had a huge, huge role in it. It doesn't mean it's the only cause, but with how extreme all, like, there's just so much energetically grabbing on, it would really make sense that no human being could handle that and not just, I want to say, snap um, and go batshit crazy. Yeah, yeah, and you're not crazy. You literally just almost, you get overwhelmed, and all these other energies, there's more of this other people's energies than your own. So it makes sense that you wouldn't even know it was happening. Just on a little bit of another note with what I was just saying, for those of you who are saying, I do cord cut, I do energy shielding, there's a clear message here from the angels saying, yes, you are doing that, but then you're calling the energies right back in because you're scared of letting go of your gift or letting go of your ability to see things, that you're literally accidentally calling back in this negative, lower vibrational energy. I, I don't know. It's almost like they think having an awareness around that you're literally getting it cleared, cutting it, and then bringing it right back to you should help you become more aware of the fact that you are doing that. It's like so interesting. It's almost like someone who's yo-yo dieting, but it's like that with energy cutting negative energies. It's, yeah, it's like on a, it's very interesting. And I guess I understand. I wouldn't want to ever feel like I was losing my psychic abilities, but at the same time, you don't want that kind of energy. There's no power in attracting that energy. It's not making you better because you guys, I can see, are light workers. This is actually just bringing you down vibrationally, energetically, emotionally, especially. I feel like a lot of you feel like you get into these little ruts, and yeah, it's like you keep your head down, but it's not because you're getting any work done. It's because you just are a little bit lost and overwhelmed with all this. Okay, next message. So this card here, it's interesting because it's like, I don't really know if he is necessarily a teacher for you, but it is a reminder that you guys need to journal and or write down your emotions and your thoughts. And then for some of you, it's release writing. And for some of you, it's just if you have a lot of anxiety and a lot of, um, yeah, I guess it's still release writing, like bottled down emotions. It is how you're getting that out consistently. And it's not the only way to get it out, but it's a really important one for you because I feel like you've had issues with being heard in your life or feeling like you could speak up. And this is just giving you a platform to say everything as you've been wanting to say it or needed to say it. And it can be on a computer. Like you could also type these notes or write them. So if you aren't like a pencil and paper person, don't worry. If you're not good at punctuation or grammar, don't worry. It doesn't matter. It's all about just getting that raw emotion out. So yeah, make sure you're feeling it. Like it's not just thoughts, like all your thoughts that are just rambling. It's also got your feelings you're trying to release. I feel like for some of you, sometimes you have too many thoughts almost, like it's overwhelming. So it is good to release them. But if you're not getting to the feeling that caused all those thoughts, then you're not really going deep enough in that writing releasement or as deep as you could go. So you will be drawn to writing, I want to say like a blog or articles, maybe an actual physical book around whatever it is that you know. It could be around the spiritual because you are very spiritual people. That would not surprise me. It would also not surprise me if you just have a really deep understanding of something else that can benefit society or humanity. And it will also be channeled in messages from the divine on that subject, because it doesn't always need to be about the actual spiritual for it to be very needed information that will heal a lot of people. It could even just be around, I want to say, self-love. I feel like you guys could, I think you are on quite a journey yourselves on how to love yourselves more. So I wouldn't be surprised if you were inspired later on to start some kind of, I want to say like blogging about it, and then maybe a book. But don't take that word for word. It's just something around that. It's gonna help you write something for people. Sorry, I'm just scanning. Sometimes you get really sucked into one card and then you're like, what am I looking at? I thought I saw manifestation work here. There usually is some because we all want to bring in good. I'm here helping you. I have new understanding. That's so funny. So I should have realized this. This Egyptian god is actually god of manifestation. So it's like, why did I feel like there's a manifestation vibe? This is this dude here, which also explains the writing, because you can write on full moons, and new moons, what you want to release and what you want to bring in. And it's interesting, I have done so many readings in this general reading where the full moon, new moon energy is so important for the general public, or whoever's watching these piles, because it almost seems like every time I do a reading, the full moon, new moon comes in. And I think it's just because it really wants people to start working with the physical, spiritual energies all in one flow to get what they want. And to, I guess, just even see if that makes a difference for them. Like, just try it once. I feel like they keep saying that. Just try it once, see if it helps, if it works, if it helps keep you accountable, gives you a good time frame to do it, if the energies of change in the air and introspection also just help. It's just good. Any change, development, self-development is good. Yeah. And just maybe even like, because he is like the god of manifestation, he might just be calling you to look into that a little bit and understand, what is manifestation? What does it even mean? What does it look like? How does it affect your life? Just anything around it. I'm sure there's a million YouTube videos about it these days. And hopefully you just stumble upon the one that resonates with you. And then the God box is also very manifestation related, in my opinion. It says, write any worries, concerns, or desires on a piece of paper that you put into a special container called a God box, as a way of letting go and allowing the divine to help you. So it's almost like a lot of us have a little bit of control issues without realizing it. And I think you guys could have this where you're trying to think of all the ways that what you want is going to come in, or how you can get it to come in. But if you limit it to only being those ways, or plan for it to only be in those ways, it's almost like every other weird, coincidental, fated way that it could happen, you're like, no, I say no to that. I only want this way. And if I think the best example I can think of is, I think everyone has one moment in their life where they were in the weirdest place, to say a grocery store or a coffee shop, or they were just scrolling through something or looking at a newspaper that was on the ground, and they saw something that had nothing to do with what they wanted, and it led them to an opportunity or something that they'd been really trying to bring in. And I hope this has happened to all of you at least once, because otherwise it's really unfortunate, and we've got to work on that. That could be why you're getting this reading. But it's just saying that most of the time when things have worked out the best is when we've just manifested the feeling we want around it. So we think about what our ideal career would look like, our ideal relationship would look like, feel like. I guess, sorry, I shouldn't say look like necessarily. I should feel like. What does it feel like when I get up in the morning? What does it feel like to be with that person or to be at that job? And then you just kind of release it to the universe. You just think, okay, this is how I want to feel around this. And then I'm going to keep it as open as possible for you to bring it in. And the only requirement is that you want to have it feel as good as you've envisioned. I hope that made sense. But it's just giving the universe as many doorways as possible. So sorry, at first, yes, you can visualize it, but then I caught myself thinking that's just cutting off one more door that could be open. Just, I would say, feel how you want to feel in that role or in that thing, because there's so many more options out there when we don't have it stuck to looking one certain way. Also, you guys might be more feelers than visualizers. That could also be part of the message there. Okay. What else do we have for you here? Pile 2. Finding balance. Going outside. Definitely going outside. It could be you might need to be more grounded. But I also think the nature energies of being by natural flowing water of some sort is very cleansing for you. It probably makes you feel a little more rejuvenated somehow, more peaceful. And it could be because water is literally clearing and cleansing, and it might help clear some of those energies around you for a little bit until you learn how to shield yourself. Because as soon as you walk away from that water, I think unfortunately you might just be calling them all back in accidentally. But I think it does help. It does bring peace, and you got to take that over nothing. Any peace is good. I feel like some of you were definitely witches in a past life. Definitely witches, but I would say you're working with the angels in this lifetime. Don't have a doubt around that, because everything I see around the witch energy is very angelic based now, but I think it's just showing me that there could be some other deeper like soul wounding or weird limiting beliefs or traumas that your souls actually experienced in past lives because of this. So this could also be why you are so psychically gifted, but I feel like you're searching for teachers on the spiritual realm, not in the physical realm. And it could be because of fear of people thinking you're crazy or not believing you. Something around that. And I think as long as you energy shield, you should be fine there. If you ever do see a healer, maybe just mention that you're suspicious of that, and I'm sure they'll clear any of the lingering energies from that past life. But I don't get the impression that it's overly holding you back right now. It might come up later if if you ever feel like every time you start to learn things about the spiritual realm, something happens, like the course keeps getting canceled, or you keep not getting along with teachers or something like that. Like it just feels like something keeps popping up. I would go to a practitioner and get that energy healed, because I actually think it could be on a soul level, a self-protection that's happening. It's a little bit annoying, but we've all been there. I've been there. We get through it. We do learn it. It's just not for all of you that's going to be the case, but for some of you, that could be a block that you're like a aspect of your soul is trying to protect you, but doesn't realize it's not in that lifetime anymore. Okay, I also feel just because there's so many things around healing, I'm just going to pull one card from my healing cards and see any last advice for pile 2. What would you like pile 2 to know? It says, practice the healing power of compassion, mind, open your heart to other people without judgment, and radiate the message of delight at having them in your life. Friendliness, compassion, delight, cultivate a calm mind. It's interesting. I hope that means something to you guys because it's a little bit of different energy. I guess it looks like balance to me too. It looks like balance, self-love, the yin and the yang, the shadow self and the true self. Finding, I think, even compassion for yourself, that you have both those sides to you, and not worrying so much about it. I think that might be where the need for calm comes in. This card filled out, and I was like, oh, I was talking about your house earlier. It says tranquility at home leads to health. And on the back it says, home is for resting, renewal, warmth, and love. If this is not the atmosphere in your home, what can you do today that contributes to changing it? So don't worry about fixing it, but what can you do to change it? I would say clutter right away if any of you feel like you have a lot of clutter. If there's like a man in there, maybe you have a roommate, a tenant, maybe even a partner that isn't very kind to you. It might even be hinting at clearing their energy after they've been there, clearing things after they've been there, or maybe consider changing houses or kicking out tenants or leaving roommates. And I think it's going to make the house a lot more peaceful and calm and feel more like your home versus just a place where they ditch and drop their negative energy. Yeah. And also I would suggest maybe saging it, doing a proper like house clearing of it, not just like saging a room and seeing if you feel better. I think you should sage your whole house. And just with the energy that you guys have, I think you should sage your home. I would say minimum once a month, but I think if I'm being honest, if it stays with how things are right now, I think you should do it once a week with sage. And making sure that when you sage it, you are calling in love and light back into this space, because it will be left in neutral, like a neutral field. Because sage just like removes everything, which is great when you have a lot of like really, really negative energies, really heavy energies. But it's just like you want to call in an intention for the space or an energy that you want the space to have in it. And it just, yeah. Okay. I think now that is actually all the messages I have for you guys. Same thing. Let me know how I did, if anything resonated with you. Please just drop me a comment or like my video, something like that. I'll see it and I'll know that at least somebody thought I did good, or somebody felt that this helped them out. That's mainly one of the reasons why I'm doing this. So yeah, I hope you guys have a really good day, and don't worry, you are gonna be fine. Everything that I see in your soul is very strong, and you do have the guides around you that you need. It's just, they did have some messages for you. Don't feel like you're failing. You're doing great. Yes, I feel like you're worried about that. Do not worry. You're doing great. You're doing the best that you can right now. Nothing here said you weren't. It just said that you had things you needed to bring back into your awareness. Kind of shift your focuses to some things. Okay. Bye, guys. Hello, pile 3. So you chose Healing with the Angels card deck. I am going to pull from all the decks that you saw there, but I will pull mainly from this one. And we are just asking the question, what messages does heaven have for you, pile 3? Okay, we've got meditation, ideas and inspiration, dreams. So a lot of following your heart energy here and diving into finding out what it is that's you're wanting. Truth and integrity, playfulness, study, third eye chakra, God box. Ooh, it's so interesting how many cards I've seen in all the piles today that are coming out as the same. I have a new understanding. As a soul, I can be in several places at once. New projects. Journaling. Yoga and exercise. To bring peace of mind and spiritual growth. Change in family dynamics for the best. And I have a message from deceased loved one. I am happy, at peace, and I love you very much. Please don't worry about me. Just going to take a second to dive deeper into what's happening here. Some of you have lost someone, so I'm just going to pull another card from this one deck asking if there's anything else they'd like to say to you, like you to know. Feel healthy and happy. And if I had only known then what I know now, I would have lived differently. And I watch over you every day. Okay. So there is a big ask here that you guys take the time you need right now to take care of yourselves, to sleep, eat good, not exert your energies, just be really gentle with yourselves, and to take the time to feel your feelings and not to necessarily try to understand them all, but just feel them so that they can release themselves. They won't just be so stuck in your bodies. The more sleep you get, the more clear you're gonna feel. Like I feel like the angels are helping clear your energies while you're sleeping. Yeah, and I feel like some of you are expecting a baby, or it's funny, I feel like some of you are pregnant or gonna have a baby, and then some of you I think are gonna be like a surprise, like way older sibling. I don't really know how that would make sense because that would mean you guys would have to be like 18 or something, or I don't know. You guys gotta let me know if that's true. And then the other one I get is I feel like some of you are gonna be a very young aunt. um yeah, and I don't know, I think that's just gonna really open up your heart to love. I think you're gonna see this new younger person and it's really gonna make you feel like just innocent love for this child, however it comes in. Maybe your best friend's gonna have a baby, I'm not sure, but there's definitely something around that. Learning to love something just so purely, and it's gonna be really healing for you guys because I just see there's so much wounding in your hearts right now. Yeah, it's saying Consistently write about your feelings and activities stirs creative ideas and builds your confidence as a writer. But I think it also means it's going to be a lot of release work for you guys around this wounding. I think, yeah. It's interesting that it doesn't talk a lot about this person who's moved on, other than that they're happy where they are now. They can reflect and see things in their life that they couldn't see before. It's so, I don't know, I feel like if sometimes maybe you're always trying to explain things to them, or you just felt like they didn't understand you, I think there's a little bit of a message they're saying, like they just understand everything now. Everything's so much more clear. They're also saying that I think you guys could be prone to anxiety or trying to be overly independent, or both. And this person, I think, wants to see you kind of follow your dreams, find your own personal power, like take the time to reflect within yourself what it is that you want for yourself, and how you want to feel in your, I think, career and overall life. It's not just career for them. Like, I think they now that they've passed on, they've realized that if you're not passionate about what you do, then you're just going to spend most of your time not happy with your life, and it's not worth it. So to be very true to yourself and who you are, and don't be afraid for people to see you in, like, I want to say, like, your raw form. Like, that could even be like, maybe you've been too scared to cry in front of people, maybe you've been scared to be too vulnerable with people. You feel like you're naked. If people see through your defenses, or your, I feel like you could even be a group that is very self, I think it's called self-deprecating. I can't, or defecating, that's pooping. It's very self destructive. Like, you do a joke, you say a joke, and it's actually kind of tearing at yourself for not being good enough, or being too dumb, or something like that. But it's so not true. It's so not true. So this person is like saying, please see the value you have in yourself. Take care of yourself. Treat yourself well. And they're really saying exercise is so important. Like, I feel like one of the reasons why maybe you're so hard on yourself is because you don't think you're fit enough. And they're saying just having an activity routine where you just even do stretching a day, or you walk to go get your mail, if you just do something small, you're going to really start to feel better about that aspect. You're not going to have as much fuel to beat yourself up about, because you'll be doing this one thing a day that you can be proud of yourself for doing, and deserve to be proud of yourself for doing. Yeah, so I think I think some of you consider going back to school to get into this thing that you appreciate more. You could have been, I feel like a lot of you have previously received secondary schooling of some sort and didn't like it, was horrible, but you were also doing it for something you hated doing. And now if you go back and you don't take it so seriously to the point where you have like anxiety attacks, and you're doing something that is going to give you your dream job, it's going to be good. It is the right decision. Don't just go back to school for anything. Like, really take the time to go within yourself and reflect on what it is that you want to feel when you go to your job, or you want to, I don't want to say have, because have makes you think very materialistically, but this has got to be very like joy, passion, fulfilling related. And then once you figure that out, write down all those things that you want, and then put that list aside, and then come back to it every time you need a little reminder about why you're doing all these steps. There's a lot of blue. I think you guys see a lot of angelic signs or signs from this deceased loved one, and saying that you're kind of ignoring them, blocking them out. It could even be around the death and not feeling more closed off to that type of energy. And it's not saying that you have to open yourself back up, but it's saying you've almost intentionally closed your third eye lid a little bit. I would recommend doing like a balancing and healing meditation. And I don't think it should be just for your third chakra. I think you guys would really benefit from doing like a full body balancing thing. I know there's some like 10-minute ones on YouTube somewhere. And I think it would just be good for, honestly, almost feeling more motivated and more energetic and more excited about moving forward. And it might sound really boring and silly to you, but I think you all will, really have a new energy to you. It is important for you to take time right now to simply observe and feel your emotions. We were kind of saying that before. I feel like this card keeps pulling me back in. If you guys see turtles or pictures of turtles or something like that, that could be their reminder to you to do that. To take time to nurture yourself, simply observe and feel your emotions. Don't try to understand them. Because if you're like, well, why not try to understand them? It's almost like you're trying to make sense of them and you're thinking about them more than you're feeling them. And it's important just to like slow down and feel them, to release them. It's like important to acknowledge them by feeling them, not by just thinking them. And it says that you might be in a period of increased sensitivity to the earth's vibrations. So if you're having like strange, maybe digestive upsets or something, or skin reactions, it's just because you're becoming a little more sensitive during this time to things around you. And overall, just that you've been going too fast for too long. You need to slow down and pace yourself. And then for the few of you, this is not everyone, there's a few of you where you almost are afraid to do things on your own. And that might be one of the reasons why you're scared to go back to school or to go studying. This isn't everyone. I feel like for the other you, it's the anxiety, panic attacks because you've took too much on all on your own and you're very independent. So whatever resonates with you, because they're both messages are here. It's both on the extreme side. So one is calling you to not be afraid to be independent, and the other one's saying, hey, look, you've taken way too much on. You need to remember you have support systems out there. And then I have a little rant to go on that won't make sense to some of you, but for others of you, it might make a lot of sense. So some of you might be really drawn to starseed things right now. Starseed things are great, but something I've noticed in this whole new age movement is that they just trust starseeds at the level that they would trust angels or the divine or like your power animal or other things that are of a higher love and light energy. Starseeds are just another form of, like, it's not a human soul. They're like pretty much the human soul equivalent to another planet. So they're just like humans. There are some that are higher vibrational. There are some that are lower vibrational. They have ulterior motives. So just be careful if you're taking things as the word, the ultimate word of truth. That's what I want to use. They're not all bad. Some of them are great guides, but just be aware of the fact that just because you hear the word starseed doesn't mean they are of the divine energy or of that love and light energy. You have to put that into your wording with them. Like if you're taking advice or channeling messages from them, you have to say, like, I only call in those who are of the highest good in love and light right now. Like, I know it's a lot, but highest good doesn't always mean love and light. If you've been leaving that word out, you have just kind of said that you're open to getting a real good life lesson that you will never forget. But if you add in love and light for your highest good, it's meaning that it's your best lesson you can get only in the love and light energy or way of learning it. Yeah, that's definitely specific for one person. But I would say to be very careful with that. I've seen a lot of people starting to trust in some not so great shady things, and then it's so hard to get people to hear you when you're saying, hey, like, just because it's a star seed doesn't mean it is all of love and light. Like, it could be really powerful and all those things, but I've definitely met a lot of star seed energies that I did not consider higher vibrational in love and light. So, yeah, that might be a very controversial thing to say, but if you're watching my pick a card reading, you're going to get my opinion and my experiences, and that has been my experience. So take it or leave it how you want. You got your own free will, and you're going to have your own life journey to go through. That's the end of that spiel about that. I think that you should call on spiritual protection, just meaning making sure that you do have a guide that is of love and light and for the highest good of you. Asking them to shield your energy or protect you from anything less than that. And then you are, with that protection, being called to look into investigating other spiritual realms. Like if maybe you've been really drawn to astral traveling or shamanic journeying, maybe doing some type of meditation specific around that. You feel a little more like it's shamanic related, especially with it. I feel like it's with a horse. That's very shamanic. And just in that realm, if you haven't looked too much into it, you do always have to clarify that you are only interested in working with the love and light in your highest good. Just because in that realm there's a lot of duality, which there's nothing wrong with that. I actually feel like it's so important to work with duality, but you just have to make sure you're doing it in a way that's setting your boundaries and you don't get any weird deceitful energies around you, because it's just honestly like humans, where sometimes if we'll say a greasy car salesman sees a really friendly face, they have a way of getting you to buy their product even though it's not in your best interest. I hope that was a good reference. I feel like I'm really rambling about the randomest things, but yeah, it's either that you are possibly communicating with something they don't love, the angels, or you're going down a path where they want you to investigate more of this spiritual stuff, but you might be being a little misguided in which way to go, and that's no fault of your own. It's actually really hard to find great information out there unless you know what you're looking for. And if you don't know anything, you're just getting into it, how do you know what you should be looking for? So yeah, energy shielding, really good for you guys. And then just making sure you're using that wording, calling in the higher, like the highest good and love and light for you. Okay. So just kind of final messages I have for you is just really take the time to rest, heal yourself, and regroup. It's so important to you. I feel like some of you guys are just so exhausted, or you're on a spiritual level, your soul is so exhausted and tired. And not to forget, you have support systems out there. You have people who can help you. You're not alone in this. They want to help you. You just have to be open to it and take baby steps if that's too overwhelming. I feel like you almost have this defense mechanism sometimes to push people away, and they don't understand sometimes that is that you just need a little more push. You're wanting them to ask again if you want help or insist a little bit more, but it is your job to accept that support and help, because you can't expect people to read your mind, especially when your energy comes off as very like defensive. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. This last one here felt quite random and all over the place, but yeah, I think that's all I have for you. Definitely think you should look into shamanic journeying, some sort of introductory courses, and energy shielding, resting, chakra balancing. Let's see if I can remember the other things I said. I know it seems like a lot. Doing that one routine, some sort of physical activity a day, whether it's just stretching, walking to go get something that's really close by. Like it doesn't need to be a huge step, like mail or maybe a coffee or a tea in the morning. Yeah. Okay. You guys have a good one. And if you feel like it, I'd appreciate it if you left a comment below so I know what you'd like more of or what you would like less of. Any of that helps, especially when you're just starting off. And I hope you have a good day.